Hi, I'm Sharon. Many people choose to take the ABRSM Grade 5 Music Theory exam simply because they wish to progress on to the ABRSM Practical Grade 6 level in whichever instrument they're playing. However, Grade 5 Music Theory is a worthwhile pursuit in its own right. If you're studying for your GCSEs or your A-levels, of course, this is a valuable asset to have in addition to your studies, but also it's a worthwhile pursuit in its own right, just to enjoy studying. And also, the more you understand music, the more informed a listener you will become. I work through every single exercise in the whole of the ABRSM Discovering Music Theory workbook. You can find the full lessons to work through the whole of this book on my Patreon channel. If you go to patreon.com/Sharon Bill, you'll find everything that you need to know there. And you can find the links to that in the cards and in the description box below. Do remember, of course, that all of the grades build accumulatively. So to study Grade 5 ABRSM Discovering Music Theory, you need to have worked through ABRSM Discovering Music Theory Grades 1, 2, 3 and 4. And now, in addition to those, we will add the subject matter of Grade 5. In Grade 5, we look further into the subject of simple time and compound time, and we change from groups of 2 to groups of 3 in our time signatures. And we also cover irregular time signatures, which have either 5 or 7 beats per bar. In Grade 4, we looked at the alto clef, and now in Grade 5, we move on to the tenor clef, which now has middle C on the second line of the stave from the top. This is relevant to instruments such as the cello, the trombone, or the bassoon, or other instruments like this, which can play in the upper end of the bass clef register. We also look at the topic of transposition, in which we transpose sections of music, and we need to learn how to do this for instruments of the orchestra which don't play at concert pitch, where we are tuned to the note C. For example, we need to transpose maybe a major second because we need to accommodate the B-flat clarinet. And so we look further into this topic of transposition in the Grade 5 workbook. We now progress on to keys and scales, which will cover up to 6 sharps or 6 flats. And of course, this includes all major keys, all harmonic minor keys, melodic minor keys, and we're going to be moving between all of the clefs that we've covered so far. We now progress our studies of chords to now include chord 2, built on the second degree of the scale, and we'll look at prescribed chord progressions for cadence points, which are like little endings or full endings within a piece of music. And we also look at rearranging the order of the notes in the chord, and we call this inversions, as we change which note of the chord appears in the bass. In Grade 5 Discovering Music Theory, we now also look at ornaments, which are notes which are superfluous or embellishments to the main melody line. This includes ornaments such as trills, mordants, whether upper mordants or lower mordants. We look at appoggiaturas and acciaccaturas as well. And as we move towards the end of this Grade 5 ABRSM Discovering Music Theory workbook, we move on to look even further into the instruments of the orchestra. We look at the piano and the mechanics of the piano and particular directions for piano players. We look more in detail at the instrument families within the orchestra, and then we consider even more performance directions given to us in Italian, French and German. And I'll give you little tips on how to perhaps go about revising all of these musical terms. As we get towards the back end of the Grade 5 Discovering Music Theory workbook, we now get the chance to put everything that we've learned into practice as we look at music in context. This is where a series of questions relate back to a little extract of music, and we are asked questions about this piece of music, and it can refer back to anything that we've learned so far, whether it's from grades 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5, and we'll look at that in the context of an actual piece of music. And then finally, we get the opportunity to try a sample exam paper, and I help you step by step through the whole exam paper in all the 7 sections that it's divided into. Once you feel like you're ready to take your ABRSM Music Theory exam, I've written a guide to how to take your ABRSM Music Theory exam. It's an exam technique guide, and it helps you to be best prepared for your exam, and also how to make the best use of your time when you are actually taking the exam. This book is available to you in digital format or in paperback. It's available from Amazon, and again you can find the links to that in the cards or in the description box below. And also, all of the information that you need can be found on my website. If you visit sharonbill.com, you'll find everything that you need to know there. All of the lessons are available to you on Patreon, and you can see sample examples of these lessons after this short little video to show you how I work through every single exercise, just as if I'm sitting right next to you. Enjoy your studies. Bye.
B there, G flat, the placement is wrong, so you've got to be careful it's on the right note. Although the pattern looks correct, it's actually placed on the space, not the line there. So ornament number 1, well, it's not a trill because we don't have a alternation of next door notes repeatedly, and it's not a lower mordent because although it goes down, it doesn't go back up again, and we can see that it's a turn because we can see above the note, that's the note itself, below the note, back to the harmony note. So we can see it's a turn. We can see that shape that the melody is following. Is it true or is it false that the music gets a little slower in bar 7? So what happens in bar 7? So this is what we're after here. Now, poco means a little, and rit is ritardando, or it can also sometimes mean ritenuto. Ritardando or ritenuto, we can see the rit there, and if you're thinking the root word of that is like retarded, we are retarding the speed, we are gradually slowing down a little bit.